This is a presentation which is very dear to us, where they say that women's place is just anywhere. Technology is also women's place. We firmly believe in that, and that's why we dedicate a slot in our agenda for that talk. We have been working hard to show what we have known for a while. There are talented people, women who work in technology, very competent women. It's just a matter of looking for them and you find them. People, they are kind of lazy to go after them and to find them. We have same number of female speakers as male speakers. It's just a matter of going after them. There are very skilled and talented women, and not all men panelists, because there are several women highly dedicated working with the tech. We have a total of 50 speakers. Maybe 55 were men and 45 were women. Wonderful. So anywhere, in any profession, in any room, there is enough room in terms of gender, diversity. And having said that, we invited to talk to us Professor Tanara Lauschner. It's a great honor, and we are so glad to have you among us today. Professor Lauschner, she is a teacher at the Federal University of Amazon. She is an engineer, electrician, and she's a PhD in technology by University of PUC in Rio de Janeiro, and she's also director of Institute of Science, Computer Science Institute in Amazon region. She's also in charge of a project which aims to attract young girls to participate and, moreover, in the Computer Science Brazilian Society, she performs a very important role coordinating a group of women. She was recently appointed as an advisor from our board. She has just joined us. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank you all for the invitation. Scientific events and civil society events, women are getting organized, and that is happening as part of technology, computer science. How can we collaborate for gender balance in technology? Well, Wagner has introduced me, but I usually say that people look at me and say, but you come from the Amazon region? I said, yes, kind of. I was born in a small city in Santa Catarina, closer to Argentina. After that, I went to a tiny little city in the countryside of Amazon. In fact, I was born in Santa Catarina, but my whole background and my relationship takes place, I feel as someone who comes from the Amazon. How difficult it is to work in the Amazon region. Despite being the largest state in Brazil, it has around 97 to 98% of its preserved Amazonic forest. Then we have Manaus. Manaus is a city with 2.5 million inhabitants, 6 GDP in the country. Here we have Solimões River. Here we have the campus of the Federal University of Amazonas. Here our harbor, a cut of our industry hub, 600 hectares of forests, 600 hectares of native forest. And we have 2 hubs where we have physical concentration, science, human languages, and so on. What is lacking in terms of females' penetration in IT? We have a number of students in technology, but we have a small increase computer science, information system, software engineer, a little bit of computer science, and some other specific courses. Here we see the development or evolution of those who concluded the chart. There is a small percentage of women who manage to conclude the IT course. And if we skip to absolute numbers, here we have a total of 300,000 new enrollments. When we come here, when we skip to this other chart, that decreases immensely, 45,000. So not only women in IT, but people in IT, men and women.
Por outro lado, o que a gente tem? E isso foi vastamente mostrado aqui nesse evento. A gente tem as tecnologias...
We have revolutionary computer science technologies. And who is in charge of that? Who is responsible to develop them? If we consider number of professionals, we conclude that most solutions are developed by men and not by women. How come? Aren't women able to develop, to do it, or to get involved in technology? Well, women, they should not work in technology. They should look for something else. And in the Federal University of Amazon, we have a small percentage of girls, but they do really well. They are very bright. With that in mind, we decided to survey it. Here we have computer science course, computer engineer, that's a rather newer course, and we have some other information systems course, which is a newer one as well. We try to understand the number of girls and boys who enroll in one of our courses. And we have a small number of women reflecting the national average. When we see percentage of graduated women in relation to those that accepted, and when you compare the percentage of men graduated in relation of those men who entered effectively, we see that girls, they have a better yield. They take the best of their course. They do not give up as much as boys, and they graduate in relation to the number of newcomers. We have a better yield of that. When we did that at UFAM, we showed the girls in the course. We know that you face most of your colleagues who are men in their majority. And how girls, they perform in the course. And then we try to perform some other studies in order to surveys to understand why that happens. We understand that cultural issues, sometimes related to families. Many girls attending the course, they say, well, my daddy works with IT. I work with computers since I was a little girl. My daddy has motivated me to do something in computer sciences. I got that push. We hear that quite often. So family members, they do not support their girls. Girls don't find that sort of support at home, and sometimes they are pressure. They like maths, but their family prefers if they go for medicine, law school, business, you name it. And computer science, as that is a quite new area, that leads to some concerns when parents are about to talk to their kids from a vocational standpoint. To many parents, it's quite dark to understand what a computer science expert does.
In this regard, in this project, we clarify things like this. There's another problem. The girls don't think that they're sufficiently skilled to study computer sciences. They think it is too difficult, that it's not meant for them, and that they had better choose something which has more to do with their own abilities. And that's where our contribution comes from within this whole scenario. What is our contribution? Different groups in Brazil today, reflecting a worldwide movement, are organizing so that they can have more women coming to work with IT. These things must be done early on, before girls start not liking math anymore. before they receive information that math is not nice or that math is not meant for girls. In Manaus, we have the digital Cunhatã program, which is part of a national program called Digital Girls. It's supported by the Brazilian Computer Science Association. This is the logo of the Digital Girl program. And now I will talk about the objectives, and then I will go back to the slides. The main objective of the program is to increase the number of girls working with IT. The target public are students from middle and high school. In high school, it's very difficult for them to get involved with that. They have so many other things to do in their schools. It's difficult to obtain some time available to talk to these children, even if we go and talk in a computer science course. So what are the activities? We have lectures. Most of the activities are lectures, workshops, where we also work with programs and many other activities. Storytelling workshops. There's an activity where we get computer science stories and tell them to students, and they have to dramatize that. The activities vary a lot, and this is some of the map of the activities held within the scope of the Digital Girl course. This other picture was taken at the Brazilian Conference on Computer Sciences, held in Porto Alegre. And this is another event, Women in Technology and Information Technology. This is an event held in São Paulo. This is Professor Cristiano Maciel, who coordinates Digital Girls. This is an event held in Natal, and here we have different events carried out over the years. In this map, we have different areas where we have programs related to the Digital Girl program in Brazil. I know that in Rio Grande do Sul, we have Digital Girls. And then we have Mato Grosso State Digital Girls and different programs for different states. The program does not demand you to keep the name. With that, we form a network of people who are looking for the same objectives. The Digital Cunhatã program started with another project we had in place with girls who were trained to participate in a program with Microsoft. And so we trained for 3 years. Professor Rosiane coordinated that. They generated some very cool apps. There's one for makeup based on the Fibonacci series with aerial proportions. So apps with a more feminine application, but that are based on math and optimization. This is the event we carried out in 2015 in the Brazilian Symposium of Software Quality. And basically, this was the launching of the Digital Cunhatã program. This was another event, a forum held in 2016 with professors from elementary and middle school. We wanted to have a network of teachers who could help us suggest activities that would work better for children, and also professors who could take this project to schools. This is something we do every year at a professional fair. The girls dress up, the boys also get involved. And while they take pictures and get their favorite sentences, we give them a questionnaire to fill out so that we can obtain information, and we show them why you should or not choose technology to work with. And we also have some actions related to entrepreneurism. This was the last startup we had in Manaus. We supported this as well, and there are girls who are related to the digital cunhata. It's important to highlight that none of our activities is related to girls alone, but our emphasis is meant for girls. So we get to the schools, we carry out lectures, we raise awareness of boys and girls. But the focus of our message is for girls. But nothing is dedicated to girls only. We also carry out research in this area. We have two publication areas. The IT, which chooses papers that generate publications. And then also in play, the Latin American Conference on Informatics, we have another possibility. It's as if it were IT in clay, where we also have a selection of papers from Latin America and people who are involved with this kind of project. Of course, we do have some criticism. We get a lot of praise. Many people who support the project like the idea and understand the project. But also, in basically all of our activities, there's always somebody questioning. There are different questions, such as, you should allow the girls to choose what they want to do. You're forcing them to move into IT. And we say, no, it's the other way around. We want to show that they can choose this area as well, that they don't have to choose professions that theoretically are meant for girls. Another criticism is that we're trying to play the role of the market. The market wants to hire more women because they want to pay less. And with that, by disseminating our work, we would be helping companies to pay less for their professionals. It is a fact that today women still get lower salaries in this area, even when their training is better and higher than men, included in the area of IT. But this is not going to prevent us from trying to work with these girls and convince them that they should also participate in this world of developing technological solutions for all, and that we should not go without their talents in developing more complex solutions. Sometimes, when we carry out events with people from the market, they will say, oh, but this does not happen in my company. I evaluate CVs the same way, be it for men or women. There's no difference. And then we ask, okay, but how many female directors do you have in your company? And they will say, none. How many managers? Oh, none. Well, why not? Well, just because they do not have all of the requirements to get there. And then I say, okay, that's exactly what we want to call your attention to. And we are always very careful and delicate because oftentimes we remove people from their comfort zone and sometimes they don't like it. We end up having at some point in time in some situations to deal with some facts. But we always try to convince people that our objectives, that our goals, and that our work does not go against men, or that we're not trying to remove space from them in the market, as some people like to say. This picture was taken in a program marathon. Those who have participated in these marathons easily recognize this. Our objective is for people to look at this photo and think that there is something missing there. When we look at this picture, we can see a majority of boys. Today, SBC itself, and I think that since last year or the year before last, it has chosen teams of girls alone and has provided an incentive for women to participate more often in marathons. But when we look at this photo, just as Wagner mentioned, we try to have a balanced number of men and women. And sometimes we find some events with tables formed by men alone. And then we ask ourselves, wasn't there any woman there who could have participated? Not just because we wanted to have women there. Okay, I'm going to place a woman here. This woman does not have the required abilities, and I will do that because I must have a woman. No, I don't mean that. But we do have women who are trained and could participate in the debate, but oftentimes we don't even think of them. And when people watch this, they also do not realize that we could have a woman sitting there just as we could have more girls in that photo. So perhaps in some years we will be able to change this reality. This is our Facebook, Digital Cunheta. The email is down there. The Digital Cunheta program is coordinated by the Federal University of Amazon, but it's not an exclusive program for the Federal University of Amazon. It involves the state of Amazon, also some private schools, the Federal Institute of the Amazon, and we also have this program in some other cities in the state. I showed you the map in the beginning so that you could have this idea. But it's very difficult to do that because in the Amazon we have roads linking only the cities that are closest to Manaus. And the closest we have is 3 hours by car. So whenever we say Itacoatiara is closed, it's 3 hours by car. Those who are not from the Amazon will ask us, is that near? And we say yes, because sometimes it takes you 15 days by boat to get to some places in the Amazon, or 3 hours by plane. And therefore, reality is very different. Being able to have training in a state like the Amazon is extremely difficult, just as it is to take any other thing there. You have probably discussed digital inclusion, infrastructure. So if this is difficult in other places, it's a lot more difficult in the Amazon. So if you'd like to enjoy our page, to see what we're doing, Digital Girls is also in Facebook. You can like the page. And there are a lot of women who can inspire us, who can inspire men. We have women who have given a lot of contribution for sciences, for technology, for social institutions. And here we have a summary of different women. I think that you perhaps identify one or another. I really like this sentence by Simone Biles. He says, I'm not the next Usain Bolt or Michael Phelps. I am the first Simone Biles, so don't you dare to compare me to others because I am the first of my lineage. So we have always to think about that. Why not? Why can't we be more, do more, and revolutionize our ad area as well? So this is what I wanted to share with you. I think that I have spent my time. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tanara. Your lecture was very inspiring. We always think that it's very important to include this topic because it is always going to be a good reflection of our day-to-day at the workplace, because it's very easy for people to say that this is not a topic that should be discussed, or that people are complaining. It only shows that people are not willing to talk about this, and it also shows their own intolerance with discussion and the opinions of others on this topic. And so for us, it's very important to bring this topic up. In this world of technology, you know, it is the world of diversity where everybody fits. And I can see that in the web world, when the web was created, it was created as actually to include everybody and not to discriminate anybody. It was created so we could all have access to any documents anywhere, regardless of who had created this document, regardless of the geography of this document. And so it's something done by all for all. And when we start thinking that exclusion is possible and it prevents participation, we know that there is a significant level of intolerance. Do we have any questions from the audience? If so, please raise your hands. Please say your name. I am Patricia. I am a developer. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your presentation. It was very inspiring indeed. In terms of assimilation of technology for people, especially girls in elementary, middle, and high school, what is your tip for those who want to take this initiative to the regions where they live? In fact, the first thing we say is that they should look for the digital girls. We often receive questions about that. We already have a workshop format, how you can approach these things. We also have a concern with the image of these children with authorization from parents. And so we already have an ongoing project which is very successful. And it's important that we copy the good practices. It's not limited. It does not say, okay, wait up, you're only going to be able to do that if you participate in Digital Girls. No, you can have initiatives, have a workshop, or even invite women to talk about computer sciences. Sometimes it is only when they see that there's a woman working in their area, they will say, okay, then I can also do that. And this lecture works for boys and girls. Sometimes minor initiatives have major outcomes, and I will give you an example. Very recently, we went to one of the main private schools in Manaus. We participated in a fair, and then the girls who participated in the project were discussing in the classroom, and they said, okay, we're here. We're from the computer science course. We wanted to share a message with you. Computer sciences is this, that, and that. And these were the girls talking to high school girls. And they said, okay, some of us have had a lot of pressure from our families. but we wanted to let you know that you have to insist. Because I was lagging behind, I saw that there was a girl who started crying in the classroom. She was very quiet, not making any noise, and when they were done, she quickly left the room. And then afterwards, I talked to the psychologist who was there, and I asked, what happened? Did we say anything that wasn't mentioned very properly? And she said, no, we have a serious problem with this girl. She only gets 10 in math. She wants to study engineering. Her father is a famous lawyer here, and he has already told her that she has to study law. And I was stunned. I thought it was very interesting that things happen in such a way. And then I said, okay, we'll have to visit a lot more schools, talk to a lot more people, because in fact, this is very important. We should also talk to the parents. It's difficult for us to talk to parents, but that's important. So the tip here is that you should go into the page, talk to them, and start a project like that in your city. Or maybe you already have somebody doing that. Today we have over 30 projects throughout Brazil. And this is it. We can have one more question. While he asks the question, I'd like to invite the whole WTC team to come to the podium. So please come here while they're asking the questions. And don't forget to mention your name. I am Cristina. I represent the Bragança Federal Institute. We have the same project there. And in high school, we have a technician who is there to help them out, and then they don't move on and study it in higher education. We have decided that we should start working with elementary school children to try to have these women, long before they get into high school, we're trying to have them understand how this works. I also wanted to know if you have achieved good results. Well, regarding technical education, we have the same reality. We cannot capture a large number of girls from vocational school to go to the university. It's actually very difficult to say, okay, we already have results. This year we celebrated that the number of girls studying computer science has doubled, but we have 12 out of 66, and this number has doubled. So then we prepared a questionnaire to find out whether they had been reached by one project or another, and some of them said that yes. The answer was yes, and so it's difficult for us. It's difficult for us to obtain support, foment, to have time, so we can get very little. We have very few initiatives. We're trying to define a schedule for next year so that we can give to children in elementary school and see if we can speak their language better. This is it. Tanara, I wanted to thank you for your very inspiring lecture indeed. I hope your participation in the Internet Steering Committee is as nice as it was, and that we can work together with this topic and in other topics that are interesting for the Northeast region and the Amazon.